All right, welcome everyone. We're Semblance of Sanity. I'm Caleb.
I'm Jacob.
And we're here for Paranoia Agent, Episode 7.
Yes.
Yeah, we have gone back to the beginning. Tsukiko has acknowledged her own psychosis.
Yes.
But she also rejected it by passing out.
Yeah, because that's what we're focusing on from last episode. Yes.
Yes.
That's right.
It's what's important.
Yep.
Now,
in fact, we don't remember what happened last episode.
I see what you did there. But Tayako went through a similar situation as well. She wanted to forget.
Yep, and she has, thankfully.
And she has.
Yeah.
But what that means, I would say, for the grander story is that because they mirrored or paralleled her struggle with Tsukiko's, means that Shounen Bat also is some form of a way of coping with people's trauma, with their trauma, with their just their stuff that
might be something self-sustaining at this point.
Yep.
Possibly.
Yeah. Well, it's specifically something that they also choose for themselves. It's something that it's less than a wish. It's more of a need. It's like a desperate I must have this not be something I have to deal with.
Yeah.
So she either
not a
head,
fanciful wish, but a true wish.
Exactly. She rewrites her own reality basically by either bludgeoning her head really hard.
Yeah.
And we don't need to see that, thankfully. Or it's something of where it's something very deep and psychological. So there's that too. We have to figure out how this connection between Hirukawa and Tayako is going to lead, though, into the next connection, because that is
true.
That is the pattern so far. Let's take a character that was previously established and introduce a new character that is connected to that previously established character.
They could tie this back around, though, to the cops again if they wanted to.
I think it's about at that time where they should start doing that, because they have a limited number of people in the OP that do the little
and there are a limited number of episodes left. So
right. This is a short show, and if I had to guess, I would say that everything goes all the way back to Tsukiko, or it ends with Ikari, the police chief.
Sure,
because he does seem to be the perspective main character for the most part.
Yeah. Given
that he didn't understand what was going on in the video game part.
Sure.
Yeah, exactly. So, episode 7, y'all. It's going to be good. So, without further ado, let's get into it. Oh.
All right.
Okay. Yep, that's Tayako. Wait, I thought the storm was over. Remember how they made a big deal about how now that's the end of the storm. Ooh, some kind of radio. What? Oh, I hate the sound though.
And we just don't know what that was supposed to be.
Well, we'll find out eventually.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Yeah, she actually saw him in her mind's eye. That face. Oh, wow. Just look at their creepy.
Yeah.
Just off smiles.
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
That was a very satisfying sound.
Yeah. It's also a perspective you could never get in live action.
That's true.
Like, probably never.
Yeah.
Like, you might be able to, but not truly. You have to simulate it.
Oh boy.
Nice.
He's using the terminology. Yeah.
Yep. What?
Wait.
What the? Okay, it's his turn now. It's his turn. What?
僕は聖戦士だ。こんなところでグズグズしてる暇はないんだ。リゾット族にあったなら教えてくれ。もう一度セーブポイントに戻って。
詐欺つき子はどうやって襲
He's
ったん
back
だ
to smoking again. Yep.
最初の被害者だよ。 聞いてなかったな。せいぜい人の真似が関の山の。
Yeah, this is
ただのちっぽけな模倣犯なんだよ。
I mean, it's true though. Oh, geez. This is a kid still, by the way.
yeah.
早い話追い詰められて逃げ出したくなっていたと。人思いに通り魔にでもやられりゃどんなに楽か。
事件のせいで平君はいじめにあってるんです。お前が犯人だろうとまで言われて。
みんな通り魔に襲われてどこかほっとしているように見える。
Are they trying to draw some kind of connection that there was a causal link between their, you know,
Potentially.
their incidents? Because there's a difference between them. There's two types, right? There's the ones where they fictitiously kind of brought it up, and there's the ones where it was an actual, like, attack by, you know, this kid believing he's a holy warrior.
いえ、おかげさまで小塚は自供しました。ただ、
やったのはあのデブと親父だけだ。あと
Oh.
僕じゃない。
Oh, good.
Okay.
So it's not just Tayako and Tsukiko.
被害に遭われる前、何か個人的な悩みとかはありませんでしたか？何かこう精神的に追い詰められるような。
悩み。
どんな小さいことでもいいんだ。
悩み。
いや、そのことで悩まなくていいんだよ。
Oh. I wonder if we didn't go deep enough, Jacob. What if there's something
Maybe.
like beyond that, though?
Well, there's a bunch of crazy theories that I've had, but they all seem too crazy to be worth mentioning.
Right. I think it's just the simple one is that there's a commentary on society's way that we conjure up, you know, things that solve the problem for us so we don't have to look at them. We can ignore them.
昼川班長はともかく問題は内山君です。彼だけが逸脱している。
逸脱なんだそりゃ。
被害者にはそれぞれ共通点があるんです。みんなどこかで精神的に追い詰められた状態にあった。
小塚は昼川と牛山しか襲わなかった。どうやってか知らんが、わざわざテンパってるやつを見繕って襲うなんて芸当しでかしたのは一体
Right.
どこのブースなんだ。
That's kind of extreme. But the idea that the psychological issues would also take on the same, like, scapegoat.
Yeah, that is true. That's something that
Like,
とっくに空っぽになっちまったよ。
could be as a result of some foul play.
もうたくさんだ。
So you turn to your vices again, and yep.
おい、冷めるぞ。
that was a
Oh, wow. Yeah, see the eyes of the even the
Yeah.
little thing in the eyes of the old guy. Yep.
Well, one of the things I've been waiting for them to explain, maybe, and they don't have to, I guess, is the picture taken of Ichi and Ushi that was then spread to all the classmates.
Right.
ガキのくせにかっこいいって。だから僕もどうせならする前に。
Wow.
川津だが、
信じてください。僕が川津さんの事件のテレビを見て。
平雄一は蝶野晴美はどんな風に襲ったんだ。あ？
だから何度も。
お前だよ。全部お前の仕業なんだよ。警察
What
な
the
り
hell?
に理解しろ。くら。
刑事
What the hell?
老子の元へ。
What the hell?
Um,
黒揚げ派のソテーでございます。
Okay, so this guy's starting to lose it.
I feel like everyone in this show is starting to lose it.
Well, I think that they're more the ones that are that have lost it. That's why they essentially had their Shounen Bat encounters. But with this guy, this is his beginning.
スースラスーッとはい
Wow.
Oh, that's creepy.
That's freaky.
creepy.
That's terrifying. Ah!
Nah, I'm not all about that.
No.
No, thank you.
He's been doing some weird, like, hallucinogens and stuff like that.
Oh no.
Equals, and then he shows up.
Yeah.
娘さんが最近何か思い詰めていたということはお願いします。
He's still here. They're still in the same.
古川さん
Oh my god.
わからないかな。
What?
古川さんの娘さんも何か悩みがあったんです。
Why did he smile there?
Because he was right. His theory was right.
娘さんの携帯電話の履歴を調べました。一人で会って一人で
I almost feel like one of them too is
人間のところにいつ
causing a
ど
lot
こ
of
にで
this
も
stuff.
現れることができる。奴は野放しです。
Wow. Yeah. Way to go. Way to go. Yeah. Because this whole environment thing with the radios and stuff, this feels too conspiracy theory-like to me. It feels like the kind of thing where people go, no, you don't understand. It's not that there's some simple explanation. There has to be something super complex going on here. Oh, no. Come on, buddy. Maniwa, come on.
今すぐです。お願いします。最後にもう一度だけ僕を信用してください。
This is the ED stuff.
Yeah.
When the professor guy's usually giving his monologue. What is going on?
Yeah. The face looks slightly different. Or, well, maybe not.
Well, where did he go?
The way they make it seem like he's all alone right here.
Well, he is.
Yeah.
署内の留置場で通り魔事件容疑者の少年が自殺したことを受け、武蔵野南警察署は
What?
緊急の記者会見を行いました。
Wow.
警視庁は不祥事の謝罪とともに管理責任を取る形で署長の辞任をはじめ担当職員数名の処分を発表しました。
Holy crap. Oh my god.
すり抜けたんだとさ。係長も気の毒にな。
マニュアと組んだのがいけなかったんじゃないのか。
What? Oh. This episode's still going so
Yeah.
much.
Uh-huh.
Ah, yeah. These two.
追い詰められた人間を特定できれば奴を挙げることができる。どこだ。
Yep.
追い詰められた人間は。
Yeah. Yeah. Right here. Right here. Yep. Yep. Yep.
CQ こちらは
Oh.
自殺じゃない。奴は一人であって一人でない。一人であって一人でない。一人であって一人でない。
Oh my god.
追い詰められ牙をなくした人間のところに少年ボットはまだどこかにいる。
Alright. That was about as much of that episode as I could handle.
Yeah, same here.
What the actual...
Insert things that
would get this channel demonetized if we were monetized.
Right.
Okay.
So,
okay. My brain goes to the simple, because this is getting way too weird. But in some ways this fits even more in theme with the show.
sure.
Imagine, if you will, that there was a phenomena of sorts
Uh-huh.
where people were basically so filled with paranoia about their situation that they essentially shut down as people, you know? But because of the, we live in a society, because of the destabilization of society, and that's kind of what this show's trying to bring up, is how fragile, it is, that people are doing things to where it looks similar. So rather than try and come up with a person, they, have to deal with the fact that it's like, no, this is just how bad things are in people's heads sometimes.
Oh
my god.
And there's the freaking the mascot thing.
Yeah. Ha. All right. That was disturbing. The last episode was disturbing for obvious reasons.
This was
disturbing in subtler reasons. Because we have to now question a little bit of where we were going with this. Because, one, there's a lot more show left still in terms of percentages of the actual show.
And given how it's been escalating, where's it even going to end up? Where is it even going to end up?
It took an impersonal route in the beginning here, and then it went hard on Maniwa. So I think we were right to assume that Maniwa was the next one here, and now he was. But the similarities are still exactly there. This is his breakdown that leads to a Shounen Bat, situation.
Right.
Now, here's where I think we have to go a little bit more Satoshi Kon here in order to kind of channel his weird brain, is that I don't think we're supposed to take literally half of what we're seeing here.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Because I think we should be able to take most of it literally somewhat. But when we go deeper on any individual thing, we have to maybe question whether or not it's actually really happening. Because, for one, this guy's clearly hallucinating about like a third of the episode. There's multiple points where they have the background, the colors, and everything. Just do weird stuff, and it's like, okay, that stuff's obvious. That's a hallucination. He's not seeing reality. In fact, he's aware in some ways that he's hallucinating.
Yeah.
So, you have things like the creepy theater scene. You have stuff like him looking at the formula with the guy. The part where the guy shows up at the hospital or wherever that was, the police station, and it's all hued in red.
Yeah.
And it's like, why is he even seeing him at all? It's kind of just freaky.
Yeah, this episode, oh boy, I'm not even sure if I have much of anything really to say about it, because it went in such a different direction than I was expecting. Like, I feel like I don't even really have much of a grid for it anymore. Like I'm getting beyond the points of which I can try and theorize and wrap my head around it. Because so little of what we see we can actually count on being real.
Yeah, the big things we can count on being real is that Shounen Bat, Tezuka or whatever his name was, or Kazuka, or the guy who was masquerading as Shounen Bat, who claimed he only attacked 2 of them.
Yeah, Ushi and Hirokawa.
Right. Which
is now dead.
Well, he's dead, the kid.
Yeah.
Shounen Bat. Yeah, the not Shounen Bat, but the kid masquerading as him, the holy warrior. But here's the thing. Was it suicide?
I don't think so.
Did Maniwa kill him?
I think there is a very good possibility that Maniwa killed him, or someone did. Like, the thing is, I'm kind of suspicious of both Maniwa and Akari.
Akari, really?
Yeah, because
I would say Akari's like the only one safe here in this whole thing, because he offered up the vacation leave thing. Like, he's seeing things from a truer perspective.
Possibly, but they're like, I mean, I feel like it's maybe that would be it'd be too straightforward because of how violent he was being with the kid this episode.
Yes, he's losing it, but he's not
right.
He's not in paranoia yet. I think he's more in anger mode because he doesn't understand what's going on. Well, and
even then, since this is from the perspective of Maniwa, that might not be reliable.
Sure.
Like, because that could just be basically what he sees the chief is doing, or something like that. Who knows?
It's possible.
Oh.
So, one, let's take the things that we do know. Maniwa lost it this episode.
Yes.
Maniwa went off the deep end in a very bad way. And it's sad because these kinds of mental breakdowns happen way more often than I think we'd like to admit, because it's scary. We just don't understand it a lot of the times. So becoming educated and stuff like that is important. But Maniwa going through this with also us with us looking at it from Maniwa's perspective, we don't have a very clear stimuli or a very clear understanding of what the stimuli was that was like the final push, you know?
Yeah,
That's maybe what's scary for us, is that
right.
we look at this and go, well, that came out of nowhere, but then it's like, well, wait, no, there was a couple things, but was that it? Like, was that all it took?
Yeah.
So I think it's a mixed bag of that.
I feel like, what I was thinking they would use as the angle for his paranoia.
Yeah.
It ended up being kind of similar to the flavor, I guess, of his paranoia, even though I didn't expect it to go this far.
Oh, cool.
But it was the idea that basically he's the young buck, so he needs to prove himself, right? You know, he needs to basically apprehend, you know, the person behind all this, and
right,
and you know, because great expectations, but then also, like they mentioned at the end, you know, like he's the greenhorn, so he could ruin things, he could mess everything up, you know.
Sure.
And he wouldn't want to do that. So
so that kind of played out in that he ended up becoming the shut-in conspiracy theorist.
Yeah.
That is now believing that this whole thing is out there.
Right, making it to be a bigger thing than maybe it is.
Right.
Because
he needs it to be.
He needs it to be, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Which, let's go back to that. Does it still fit within our theory that this is basically a mixed bag of a copycat, which we literally called that, with, you know, at least some of them being based on copycat attacks, but that the original source was from someone that was pushed into a corner emotionally. They were a character designer. They conjured up the character idea, you know, in her head. Tsukiko did all that.
Yep.
And then that was what, you know, set her free from her job situation there. But she was the one that physically injured herself. She was in full, you know, awareness of what she was doing. But after she did it, the trauma of it forced her to basically believe the lie so that she could rationalize and go about her life with a semblance of sanity.
Sure.
And then basically other people did things similarly because there was now a even more convenient excuse out there that had been already created for them.
Yeah, the precedent had been set.
And the media and the talk of the people and what have you fueled it to become even stronger, to the point where now it's a commonplace thing. And then these cops add even more to the paranoia by taking it super seriously from a crime standpoint.
And if you think about it, when originally they were talking about the whole idea, or when the kid was, when they said that basically it was just Ushi and the middle-aged man, I thought that they were talking about freaking Kawazu at the beginning. And that basically it was that two of the ones at the very beginning were something where it was started by a kid, basically. And then it went the other way around. And then the first instance of someone, in addition to Tsukiko, causing it to happen was another kid, right?
Oh, you know, that would be interesting.
And that basically that now, granted, they're their own separate, you know, people and stuff, and so what one does wouldn't affect the other. They, you know, having them be out of order totally works. It doesn't change anything from how they see things.
Sure,
but
in this case, it's because it was, you know, it's Ushi and Hirukawa that is different in that regard.
Right.
So, yeah. But Harumi, you know, Maria and all that.
Yeah, I mean that
hers
totally makes
was
sense.
Totally 100% her.
That is a level of psychological distress where, I mean, you know, she was already like didn't have full control of herself and her own mind, so it makes absolute sense that there would be something like that.
Right. And if I was creating this story, I would want it to be a little bit more obvious in the earlier ones what it is, and then make it more and more vague as you go on. so that when people go back to the beginning, they go, oh, yeah,
Right.
it makes sense, rather than it being a thing of where it makes more sense as it goes on, because that ties into the whole idea of paranoia. Like, we as the viewers are now maybe tapping it a little bit more than we should be with the paranoia part, because we're literally getting disturbed by some of the proceedings that we're seeing on the screen here.
If in the case of
which one?
Dang it, the young cop. What's his name again?
Oh, Maniwa.
Maniwa, yeah. If in the case of Maniwa, he has potentially developed enough of paranoia, psychosis, whatever, maybe even split personality disorder, to the point where he is, like, if he killed, the kid, right, then he is essentially taking on the role of being the new Shounen Bat, or just being Shounen Bat, because this kid can't possibly be Shounen Bat. It needs to be something beyond, right? And then also propagating the paranoia.
That's the big part. Yeah, that's the big part. Because regardless of whether or not he's taking on any moniker or what have you, which I don't personally agree with,
okay,
he is totally propagating the paranoia via his echo chamber he's placed himself in, and then pushing out, what is in his echo chamber through a very fine, like, radio, fueled freak out kind of thing of, he's out there, he's coming for us, he's one person and he's not, all that kind of stuff, where it's going to get worse now.
Right.
It's going to get way worse.
And yet I feel like there are certain things that have been set up that are concrete enough to know that these things actually did happen. Like the kid getting killed. I don't think it's suicide. He's dead. And I don't think that's suicide, right?
Okay.
And then the pictures of like Ichi, that was, and Ushi, that was taken by somebody and spread to the class, right? That was not a paranoia thing. So, and who knows, like, maybe the picture thing is something that's not going to be explained. It's just someone did that, and it started it all.
Right.
But man.
But okay, so what we know, the kid is dead. I actually want to bring up a point that it actually probably is suicide, because the main thing that felt kind of out of place was how rough, Akari was. And how basically his roughness not only somewhat led to Maniwa's a little bit of his breakdown, but it actually, like, had a very real profound effect on the kid, because he, realized that he was guilty finally, because he had, like, how broken was the kid internally to have to rationalize it as the holy warrior thing, right?
Sure.
And if Akari was so, belligerent, basically, that he broke through that in his interrogation, like right here.
Yeah.
That might have been it, right? At that moment there, he's realizing, like, okay, I'm done. And then the kid kills himself. Like, I do think it's still a big oversight thing that somehow he was able to do that in a bloody way, despite being locked up. Like, what did he do? Take his belt buckle and geez.
Well, or if it's bloody, like, okay, yeah, right, exactly. Like,
the pins in his hat, actually. Oh shoot! Actually, that could have done it.
Well, okay, so
yeah, that's actually a weapon right there. That's all you
sure.
Do it in the neck or the.
What did the people say on the news the
news? They said that they're fired. The Musashino South Police held a press conference yesterday
regarding the suicide of the boy.
Regarding the suicide of the boy, who's in police custody as a suspect in the series of street attacks, and apology and announced the resignation.
So if the public statement is that it's a suicide, then it probably had some very clear signs that it was in fact a suicide.
Yeah. Because I think they would have scapegoated the individual officers as being at fault if there was a murder,
right?
Although then it would make the station look less.
Yeah, but this is a way they could angle it. So Maniwa is paranoid and sees it as being Shounen Bat because it has to be something else, right? But it's actually just a suicide.
Oh,
and then for Ikari, next episode or whenever they go into his whole thing,
he'll think it was murder.
No.
Oh
no, it's that he caused the kid to kill himself.
Oh yeah.
Like
the guilt of it.
Yeah,
the shame.
because with the stuff he was doing, yeah.
It was an open and shut case. There wasn't any complications. Maniwa actually helped him solve it. He didn't need to go and
right.
I mean, maybe he hadn't technically got a confession that would work in court. That's
no,
why
because he had already said before then, like he said multiple times, you know, and then he was like, no, you got to believe me. It was just those two, you know.
Well, yes, but that's why he was asking him questions about everyone else. Oh no, because he didn't. You're right. You're right. I know what you're saying now.
Yeah.
God, my psychosis is now taking over here. The ending of this though, coming up just all of a sudden, that not only was Maniwa hit by this, but also that this freaky kind of
thing at the very beginning,
where we have a paranoid kind of guy in a radio type room with a bunch of cables hanging everywhere with the freaky noises,
and I was
trying to find the right signal or what have you.
And I was gonna say, with what little they did show of the person, it did kind of look like Maniwa.
It did, but I didn't make the connection because it looks like an average guy. It doesn't look like anything specific. But then when they reveal, oh yeah, that's all him, and he goes and sits down, and he's, you know, talking to his mystery, whatever, about this whole thing. It's...
Yeah.
It scares me because I'm going to take this in a positive route, actually.
Okay.
One of my favorite things about just life in general is connection. And one of the beautiful things about connection is in how much is exchanged and flowed between the connection of human beings on a relational level, but then also as a, you know, collective species level. There's so many cool experiments and little inventions and technologies and all these things that bring people together and allow us to collectively move forward in an accelerated manner because we can share all this information and what have you. One of the most frustrating things for me as a person, just individually, I don't even think it's worth that much energy getting into for anyone else really to get frustrated by. I just get personally frustrated for probably selfish reasons. Is that one of the things that is a very real aspect of the human experience is fear.
Sure.
And fear is basically the anti-connector.
Right.
Fear is basically the energy that basically makes you go, oh, I separate myself from that thing because I am afraid of it.
Yeah.
Right? So if I am afraid of bears, I don't hang out with bears. I personally am afraid of spiders. I am very much an arachnophobia kind of person. I'm probably not, you know, like hard diagnosed with arachnophobia, but I have 3 extremely traumatic younger age experiences
that have
with
given
spiders.
You a more than rational fear of spiders.
Yeah, it's a completely irrational fear, but it's really intensive. It's very scary, and I really don't like addressing it to the point to where it's definitely unhealthy, but I would rather go about personally not addressing it
and just avoiding
spiders than dealing with it. Like, I have gotten better to where I can now like kill spiders if they're you know, being a pest or whatever on, like, you know, near my bed or something like that.
And if you do it with extreme prejudice, you know, whatever.
But here's my point, that there are people out there that for whatever reason, they've got their own problems they're dealing with or what have you. They see it as a specific purpose of theirs to spread fear so that we hold on to it, that we're reminded of
because
it.
you need to make sure that you don't forget it, and it's in fact a truth that people should be afraid of this thing and all that.
And the thing that pisses me off so much is that these people actually believe that people need to be reminded about fear.
Right, that they're doing some good, they're helping.
That they're actually like, they have some benefit to society that they're bringing up. No, I would rather those people actually no longer have the ability to communicate at all. Like it actually pisses me off in a extremely strong way, because they're doing essentially what this guy, who's clearly broken internally, it hurts me to see Maniwa getting put into this situation where he feels like he has to turn to this. Now, the thing is that we understand. We kind of were led along with him to be able to see through his broken psychological state that what he's doing here might be the right thing to do. But if we look at this from the meta story level and stuff like that, we know that it's ultimately fruitless. It's not going to lead to anything helpful. So it, again, showcases how frequent this is. This kind of thing that happens where people get so confused or paranoid or what have you inside that they turn to this style of communication or connection. And not only is it damaging for just the collective, the group as a whole, it isolates the individual on a level like no other. I was talking with some people a while back, and it's not really, I'm not going to go into details about it, but I was talking with some people a while back who hard believe in the flat earth conspiracy. And there was like a wall of connection basically built around the idea of actually being able to ask questions regarding the thing.
Right.
Of, you know, actually just like, even like I didn't like want to not be friends with the people or anything like that, but I couldn't break through the connection barrier that had been set up because of this fear that so much of their life has been them being lied to by these conspiracies and what have you. And it's like, hey, let's just forget all that and just like talk. No, we can't do that. Sorry. Connection is scary because there's so many things out there that are lying to you and stuff. And it's just like, So that's my rant. That's my rant.
Yep. Well, that's better than I can come up with this for this episode, because I feel like whatever, you know, if there was a compass, it
lost its way.
It just got spun like a lazy Susan, like
magnets, you know. We need some magnets in here so we can find a magnetic north at least, because true north is, we're not finding that at any point in this one here, but maybe we can find like some off by 18 or 20 degrees, whatever it is, magnetic north.
I don't know, because there's just so much crazy stuff that they bring up in this show, and the idea that they keep going, that's the thing that drives me crazy. It's not that if they were to do like one or two of these things, it's that they're doing all of them. And that
we have to break everyone in this show.
We have to break everyone in the show. And the thing is that with the earlier characters, right, we still had this notion that we have an origin point, an anchor, a measure, like a point of reference that isn't broken, that we can use to kind of better understand what's going on. Whereas I feel like now
it's the characters,
right? Through the characters. But I feel like now the only thing we have is like when there's like news reports and things like that, because, you know. But even then. Well, the news is what we can trust here, you know.
I think in some ways there's a little bit of a consistency in the crazy that you can get once everything starts to go crazy, because then you know that you can just look at it through the meta lens of what Satoshi Kon is trying to bring through the table, and it's less about the imagery, so you can actually filter out a lot of the.
But the thing is, I feel like, or at least for me personally, I don't know what to filter out exactly, because they haven't finished showing us all the different kinds of crazy, right? There's still characters, and we're seeing things from the perspective of characters that have yet to break.
Yeah, but we have past experiences with characters that, you know, we can base upon there, right?
Sure.
Okay, sorry,
sure.
Keep going, sorry.
But that because of that, there's this idea of, because the whole thing of the past experience, it's like, yes, and that can be for some of it, but I feel like it's like a math problem where you're changing multiple variables at the same time, you know. And it's like, okay, all right, I can solve for one variable. Solving for two, I can only do in relation to other variables, and if those variables are changing and I'm not fully entirely sure of how they're changing,
it's not a balanced equation,
then it just
this doesn't solve for anything. This goes into the I'm changing the variables.
I'm really excited to see how this show and my perspective on this show changes with each episode, and once the show's done, because I feel like then you're at least working with an established set system, and then you can try and figure things out. But here, oh man,
I still want to go with the thing that the beginning was the most important thing, and we can base almost everything off of the idea of it being a progression. So, a very linear progression too. Like,
sure. Well, here's the thing. I don't have a problem with understanding the idea that people are going crazy, and even maybe the genesis of them going crazy.
Yes.
The the question is this something where we're supposed to understand all the minutia of their going crazy?
No.
Or we're supposed to basically, it's going to be an exploration
Yes.
of crazy?
Yes, the second one. I'm going to bank on that, like,
yeah, because that I can get behind. Like that, I feel like, okay, yeah, this is a case study kind of a thing, and a thought experiment.
Yeah,
you know?
I think it's exactly that, and I think we've
But
already.
if it's like a puzzle to solve,
No. I think we've already solved it. I think we've already solved it for the most part.
Sure.
Everything from this is now as a result of this story, the Shounen Bat basically arc being over. How do people cope with that?
Right.
People will not be able to cope with that.
Yeah.
Not everyone will have problems necessarily, but a lot of people
Ushi
will.
seemed to be getting along just fine.
Yeah,
just fine.
he's doing a lot better. So that seems to be pretty good, right? And that's probably in some ways because he was actually attacked by the kid, not
Sure, yeah. Same thing with Hirakawa, right?
Yeah.
But in the case of people where it gets to that point where they psychologically, well,
Hirakawa had the issue of him having to stare at, like, oh, he's probably smart enough to realize this is probably punishment. This is is fate.
Yeah, the stuff that happened afterward for Hirakawa,
Right,
absolutely.
right.
But when he actually got attacked by the kid and then he ended up catching the kid,
Right,
you know,
right.
it's like, okay, cool. Yeah, there you go. But then for everyone else, because it was something that was brought about by a psychological break, you can only deal with that as you would deal with a psychological break, which is not exactly something that happens quickly.
Nope.
And it's messy. So
yeah, it's tough.
Yeah.
To say the least.
But
okay, that's a big reveal. I'm going to take that about as literally as I can. That Ushi and Hirokawa were the only ones that he actually attacked. He probably committed suicide, which is just it's horrible.
That's a whole other psychological episode that they can get into. Oh, boy.
Yeah, because it's a kid.
Yeah, that too.
Like y'all, there are plenty of people who are on their last legs, on their last few moments, and they're like, hey, I don't want to go through another 5 years of this. Can you? And that's a tough conversation to have, because it's like, no, like, that's killing someone. But hey, they want it. Is this, that's a whole other thing there.
Yeah.
But when you have someone who gets pushed into a corner, literally like the kid was there. I mean, he was literally pushed into a corner, stuck here alone with his own psychological breakdown that he had already been having as his, excuse needed to be something so grandiose in order to cover up for the fact that he's assaulted two people very violently.
Right.
For whatever reason. Like, we still don't know what the actual reason was.
Yeah, it was probably, like who knows? It could have been something where it was something that he just decided to do, right?
Yeah.
And then the way that he
covered up for it
is, this is all a part of I'm the hero. I'm the hero. I need to do the thing, which is pretty similar to how Hirakawa was going about his business. But
I think the similarities and the connections that we'll find over the course of their similar psychological breakdown things is more along the lines of what the message is overall for the show that Satoshi Kon is trying to bring up about society, about people in general, and how this modern age is wearing away at the human psyche in these targeted specific areas.
Right, because I mean that explains why he would do this in a TV show rather than in a movie, because then you have more time to explore your ideas.
Right.
This makes my head hurt though. I'm just gonna say, like, my oh boy.
It makes my soul hurt. I'm just gonna say
that was more last episode for me.
Yeah, that one. I get angry more at those than actually feel pain. Oh. When your pain gets channeled into anger, it's like the Sith way, basically. My Sith Lord comes out when I see stuff in the previous episode like that. But in episodes like this, it more hurts me in my soul, because I'm like, psychological struggles, dealing with things that aren't there, struggling to maintain a semblance of sanity. Yeah, I've never dealt with that before. Okay, let's roll those shoulders and let's see if we can do this, because that was some heavy stuff, y'all. That was some heavy stuff.
Yep.
But we've got more to look forward to. I am looking forward to
5 episodes left.
Well, yeah, but thinking about how few characters are actually left that haven't dealt with a Shonen Bat type situation, I really want to know what happens when they run out of characters.
Yeah, because even if they do something like an episode of Aftermath to go into the whole idea of the kid killing himself, right? And then you have Ikari for one episode, you know, and then maybe an episode of Aftermath for him, which is, I would say that's pretty conservative there. And then you got 2 other episodes. What? Do we go into the old guy? Like what do we do?
Yeah, exactly. Like what's going to be the next step? So as far as how they handle the characters, that's the part I'm really excited about. I do feel like I've already kind of figured out kind of the main flow of the story, its patterns, its structure, and also kind of what happened overall. And they did do a lot of, I would say, catching up with the audience to make sure that we knew what was going on in the previous episodes by giving it to us in exposition form in this episode here. So overall, really, really good, well written, but well confusing stuff. So y'all, if you want to see the next crazy episode's reaction and discussion right now, go check out the link in the description below for our Patreon. You can get on early access there. You can watch full-length reactions there, and all this comes with Discord access, so you can chat with us and the community about these stories, about anime in general, or just whatever. Like, you can also talk with Jacob about the book he wrote. That's
right. That's right. If you want to read a sci-fi novel that doesn't have this kind of mindfuckery and all that stuff, then go check out the link in the description below. Amazon, you can get it there. There's some reviews on there, so you can see what people thought about it. And if you get it, make sure to leave a review for other people.
Yeah, so if any of that interests you, we'll see you there. But until then, we're Semblance of Sanity. I'm Caleb.
I'm Jacob.
And we'll see you all next time.